An old pocket watch lay in a box of junk in the backyard of a thrift store. Mark, an ordinary 11th grader who was always late for something, had bought it for a penny simply because he liked the heavy copper case with the engraved eye on the lid. Little did he know that this purchase would change his whole life. The first click. It happened during a physics test. Mark sat over a blank sheet of paper, panicking as the hand of the school clock inexorably crawled to the end of the lesson. In desperation, he pulled his newly purchased watch out of his pocket and turned the time-setting wheels back, then pressed the top button hard. Click. The sound was quiet, but its consequences were stunning. The hum of the fluorescent lamps disappeared. The physicist, who was about to cough, froze with his mouth open. A fly flying past the window hung in the air, as if embedded in transparent resin. Mark held his breath. He stood up. The chair beneath him didn't even creak. He went up to the excellent student Dennis, carefully pulled the work out from under his elbow, copied all the answers onto his form, returned the sheet to its place, and pressed the clock button again. Click. The world exploded with sounds. The physicist coughed, the fly flew away, and Mark sat at his desk breathing heavily with a perfectly completed test. Lord of Seconds. From that day on, Mark's life turned into a fairy tale. The clock became his main secret and superpower. The boy quickly understood the rules of the game. When time stopped, Mark could move objects, but everything around remained motionless and cold. He began to use it to the fullest. School triumphs. No more homework at night. He would simply stop time at the beginning of the lesson and read the required paragraph or write down the answers. Minor pranks. He could swap the briefcases of bullies from a parallel class or set a footstool for a local bully so that he fell, not understanding how it happened. Rescue operations. Once during a break, a first grader tripped on the stairs and flew headlong down. Mark managed to press the button, calmly went down the stairs, picked up the little one, and put him on his feet. When time resumed, everyone decided that Mark simply had an amazing reaction. He became more confident, more popular, his grades soared. The world seemed to him a playground where he was the only real player. The price of a frozen world. However, there is no such thing as free cheese. Soon Mark began to notice strange things. At first, these were little things. After each use of the watch, he felt incredibly tired and hungry, as if his body had used up several days' worth of energy in those few stopped minutes. Then he noticed a few gray hairs in the mirror, even though he was only 17. The watch didn't stop Mark from aging himself. While the whole world was resting, Mark was wasting his biological time. But the worst thing happened in May, right before his final exams. Mark was walking in the park with his classmate Anya, with whom he was secretly in love. They were talking, and suddenly a car came flying out of the corner at breakneck speed, the driver losing control. The car was racing straight at Anya. Mark reacted instantly. Click. The world froze. The car froze a meter from the girl. Motionless plumes of smoke were billowing from under the wheels. Anya stood with a frightened face, looking at the danger. Mark ran up, grabbed her hand to pull her aside, but she didn't move. Moreover, when he tried to pull her harder, her hand seemed heavy to him, like a granite statue. Due to the laws of frozen time, objects and people he tried to move with great speed or force offered furious resistance. Mark tried to press the button to turn back time and push her at the last second, but the button got stuck. She simply wouldn't budge. No, not now! Mark panicked, frantically turning the mechanism's wheel. He found himself trapped in absolute dead silence. The world around him was gray and cold. He could spend eternity here, aging alone among the frozen figures. The guy realized that he had played with time too often, considering himself its master, although in reality he was only a thief who stole minutes from his own future. The last choice. Having gathered all his will, Mark stopped pulling the button. He remembered how he had bought the watch. The old salesman had smiled slyly then and said, "Time returns only to those who are ready to share it." Mark looked at Anya's frozen face. He realized that his selfish use of the artifact had exhausted the mechanism's trust limit. The guy put the watch to his chest, closed his eyes, and mentally said, "I give away my years, just save her." The mechanism inside the watch crunched loudly. The spring burst. Click. The sound was like a gunshot. Time moved at breakneck speed. Mark didn't have time to do anything except cover Anya with his body and push her onto the lawn. The car roared past, crashing into a tree.